Hey, hi everybody. How you doing? It's Bruce here, traveling with Bruce, and this video is my 13th video on traveling around the world in 90 days, and I find myself here with Auntie Jen in Southampton in England, and we booked a hotel for a couple of nights before our P&O cruise to Norway, and heard a horn blast off in the port the night before, and I came out to the balcony, and holy moly, here she is. The Queen Mary 2 is leaving port. Jennifer and I were on this ship last year, and we went from New York to Southampton around the British Isles, and later on we went from Hanover back to New York. We were on this ship last year for 29 days, and here she is, the Queen Mary 2. Very fond memories, and we were very excited to be here. Seeing this ship made us very optimistic that the cruise that we were going to be going on P&O was going to be just as fantastic. British kind of run line. Really looking forward to it, and it was just wonderful to see this majestic vessel slowly coming out of Southampton, heading out to the ocean to do another run either to New York or somewhere along the way. You ever get the chance to get on the Queen Mary 2, you take the opportunity. I think you'll enjoy it quite a bit. If you're like us, you want to be on a cruise without a bunch of kids, with top-notch service, right here, Cunard, they do a fabulous job, and I was just so taken to be able to calmly film her going by our balcony here at the hotel in Southampton. Southampton, of course, a very busy port in the UK, handling a lot of ships all season long. And Jen and I enjoy being in Southampton. We enjoy being able to walk around the downtown area. And they got the big shopping mall right in the heart of the city, and restaurants and Marks and Spencer and everything you could possibly want. So it was nice to be in Southampton for a few days before our trip began on the P&O Iona. We were on the Iona from September the 13th until the 20th for a one-week cruise into Norway. And we booked this trip kind of last minute in the last few weeks before, and we were looking to score a balcony cabin on the vessel. We ended up paying quite a bit of money to get on this ship. By the way, here's another ship that was leaving the Celebrity Apex. Beautiful ship. We were given the impression that we were going to get £80 onboard credits, which never materialized. And we were also given the impression that we would be booked in a GF category cabin. And on the Iona, a GF cabin is on deck 9, but that is not the way it turned out, unfortunately. And you'll see in a minute what I'm talking about. But the day began with great enthusiasm as we were watching the Apex come out of the port, and the weather was great. A beautiful day. It was in the mid to upper 60s temperature wise, so it felt fantastic. We were excited to get this cruise going, and for the first time travel to Norway and see some of the fjords and the incredible nature that Norway has. Look at those people standing up there on that top deck, on that angled deck up there, waving and watching us. We're watching them, and out goes the Apex out to the sea as well. There was another ship in port. I think it was another P&O ship right there. That might have been I might be incorrect. That's an MSC ship there. That was an MSC ship loading up, also doing a turnaround in Southampton. Busy port. With lots of ship traffic, container traffic, ferry traffic, cruise ship traffic, naval traffic, you name it. Very active port to visit, and lots to film if you're there a little while. And on a day like this, how can you go wrong? You can't beat the Can't beat the views. Here's a shot of Southampton. As we were pulling out, we had boarded the ship, the Iona, and we were now leaving the pier and the harbor, and just filming part of the downtown area there. A lot of automobiles come in and out as well. There's a garage over there on the right. It's got to be 5 layers high, just full of cars coming in, coming out of the UK through the port of Southampton. Now, let me show you the first hint of trouble. We were assigned a cabin, unfortunately, on the 5th deck, and that was not a GF category cabin. Turned out we were assigned a cabin almost 300 feet away from the nearest elevator, and this is a walk that we had to do several times a day. You want to go for breakfast, you've got to walk this distance. You come back from breakfast, you walk this distance. Have a bite to eat for lunch, you walk this distance. After lunch is over, you walk back this distance. Now, it's a bit of a mess at the moment because this is in the morning and a lot of cabins are being cleaned up, so you have to forgive the crew for that. But, oh my God, coming all the way to the back of this ship, oh my God. This was the last cabin on the 5th deck at the very back of the ship, 5656. If you ever get a chance to look at a deck plan of the Iona, you'll quickly figure out that we were stuffed in the back, and we were stuffed in a cabin that really, in my opinion, is a singles cabin. But they nailed us with top dollar for 2 of us. Look how narrow this thing was. One person could not sit in that chair, and the other person easily walked behind them to the bathroom. It was near impossible. This was a real disappointment for us. The balcony, instead of being on the 9th with a view, we were on the 5th, just above the waterline. And we were basically in a balcony that was cut out of the ship's hull. Take a look at the width of the night table beside the bed there. That's 8 inches. And the other one right here is 8 inches. That was it. I had to walk sideways to get in and out of the bed. This was a real disappointment for us when it was all said and done. We were really, really let down by P&O. And I will blame part of it on our booking agent, but it was P&O that put us in this cabin, no question about it. This bathroom, puny, super tiny, super tight, and it was a challenge, to say the least, to be using this cabin for the entire week. I will show you here in a moment some more illustrations of just how small this cabin really, really is. Yeah, there I am telling you right there. I'm telling you, it's small. This is really small. Look at this. I can almost reach wall to wall inside the cabin. It was really unbelievable. The TV was only a 40-inch screen. It looks like a monster television. It's only a 40-incher. This room was really stuffed down our throat, and there wasn't a thing we can do about it. Apparently 6,100 people were on this ship when normally 5,000 are on the ship. She was way over capacity. It was the last cruise of the season to go to Norway. And I'll tell you, Jen and I had a tough time getting around this cabin. We had to really plot our strategy to pass each other and to get around. I mean, I didn't even have to stretch my arms to get to the ceiling of this thing. It was really disappointing. Other disappointments were plastic dishes that were in many of the restaurants, especially the buffet areas. The other, of course, thing that I was disappointed in was how overbooked this cruise was. This was not an uncommon scene in the pool areas. Lots and lots of people hanging out, trying to get a swim or a dip. The jacuzzis were always full with people, and there was a lot of foam from soap and from sunscreen and all that. So I didn't even use the pools or the hot tubs, the spas. No way. On the very first day, we had a medical emergency. The helicopter was brought in to pick off a passenger from the top of the ship and take them back to shore to treat them. And have no idea how the person did. But that helicopter hovered overhead for probably 20 minutes. Quite the racket. They shut everything down, told us to stay inside the ship so they could get this evacuation done. But we hope that all is well, and it all worked out for the individual and the family involved. Thankfully, it was not a terribly windy day, and it made the landing and the pickup of the passenger a lot easier than it would have been otherwise. Here's one of these plastic bowls I was telling you about. They had these specialty restaurants, and that's stretching it. They had restaurants available where you would just line up like a food court at a shopping mall, and you tell them what you wanted. So this was Thai food. They had 2 or 3 different Thai dishes available. They had a burger place, so were the 2 different kind of burgers available, and they had fish and chips available, and they called these specialty type restaurants. No extra charge for those, but you were served in plastic dishes. Very, very cheap and very disappointing. The cups that you got your drinks in were plastic. Even wine goblets, most of the time, were plastic wine goblets. Beer, 50-50, whether you got a plastic glass or a glass. It was really on the cheap, and it was disappointing. This was not disappointing. The itinerary and the views were not that disappointing. I think we were here in Stavanger, Norway, or on the second day. Our first day was a sea day. Left Southampton, had a sea day, then we came here to Stavanger. And we were just pulling out for the day here, and I was taken by the unique look of these different homes, backyards and so on. The folks up the hill here getting water views everywhere they could. It was interesting to see. Norway is a most amazing country, long, skinny, narrow, very far north, and the public are well looked after. Of course, they are taxed quite heavily here. However, the taxes collected go back to the people in the form of services like free healthcare, university education, excellent security, fantastic infrastructure, you name it. And so there's value for your money here, unlike other countries where you're paying taxes and really not getting much back when you hit potholes all the time and wonder what happened to our services. But this area, very unique, unique buildings right on the waterfront, and this area here is definitely inland a bit, so it's not exposed to crazy seas. And you can tell here with the waterfront office buildings, they barely had 4 or 5 feet of pier there. These ships were neat. These are ships that are on standby for offshore platforms. They're like pickup trucks. They bring supplies into these offshore drilling rigs, and they perform a number of other incredible functions. There are just a ton of these in the waters around Norway, and I'm sure the folks that work on these ships and on the oil platforms make a very, very healthy living, bringing oil up to the surface and making Norway one of the richest Western countries on the planet. The standard of living here is very, very high, and those are interesting vessels that I saw there. Great, opportunity to make film and video here. In the summertime, of course, like June and July, you're talking 10 and 11 o'clock at night before it's sunset. Super long days. Here in September, the sun didn't go down until about 8:30, so we still had a fairly long sunny day. But the sun didn't get straight up like it does near the equator, so it's a little bit of a trade-off. But you can sure see how these homes are just packed in to any available land where you can set up your foundation and connect to the services and enjoy a view of the water. And I took a long time here to catch all of as much of this as I could. I wanted to remember it after we left. Like I said earlier, we saw these ships all over. Here's another one of these ships that act like, to me, they act like a super pickup truck to bring stuff in and out to these various rigs. This particular one was coming back into port after a long, I don't know how long the deployment is, if the deployment is a week or 2 weeks, I have no idea. But there's another one of those behind us that was coming out of the port at the same time as we were. And of course, as you can tell, the water is getting a little rougher now as we head out to sea. The waves are a little more pronounced, and the winds, of course, are unblocked by hills and trees and whatnot. So we're out in the open now. But the next morning, we woke up and we were in a place called Olden, and this is right at the end of one of these fjords. And boy, was this something else! The water was like glass. And I noticed a bunch of folks on kind of kayaks, and they all gathered out here. There must have been 20 of these kayaks, and what they did is they all clustered together, and I think the green kayak was sort of the leader, taking these folks out and showing them how to operate their kayak and how to turn it properly and you know, operate it safely. And these folks were from the cruise ship, and they were having a great old time. But as I zoomed out, you can see just how massive this area was and how insignificant they became. One of the farms here had a waterfall, brook, a stream running right down to it from the very top of one of these fjord areas here. Just incredible. This is again the fall. The runoff is very weak and very slight. The heaviest time of the year you're going to see water runoff is spring, summer. Now, towards the end of the year, very little snow is left. You can see just a little tiny bit of snow up there. But snow is coming. Finally, I got a shot at the ship I was on, the Iona. I finally got to show you what this ship looks like. In Southampton, we came right up to the terminal, and you can barely see any of the ship. But here, we got off the ship here in Olden, and we were just across the street from it, and you could see just how large this ship was. 5,100 passengers, I believe, is technically the capacity, but we were at 6,200 passengers with a lot of children. Unfortunately, not all well behaved, and that was another issue that kind of grates me, being an old fart that I am. But what can I tell you? You have to tolerate that to see this, and to see the grandeur of what Norway is all about. Thing is that a ship that's this new, I think it was built in 2020, so it's 5 years old. It's only been used 3.5 years because we had the pandemic, really. You would think that there wouldn't be a cabin as small as the one we were in. Gotta tell you, I had a number of beefs about the ship. You had to pay extra for internet, of course. You had tipping. You had other charges. If you wanted to use the spa, it was for one day. It was $50 to go into a jacuzzi bath and a steam room, and you also had a 2-hour limit, and you had to tell them what time you were coming down there. I found that to be really ridiculous, and I didn't even bother with it. I was thinking of getting a 1-week pass, but even with a 1-week pass, you had to book your time on a daily basis, which I found just not my cup of tea. I'm here to relax and forget about life and not worry about stress like this. And so I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to spend more time outdoors here and get these shots and remember this area for just the beauty that it is and that it has. And you can see at the very top here, snow is still visible even after a long summer, because that is the shady side of the fjord, and the sun rarely gets at those rocks up there. Gorgeous fields, sheep and cattle everywhere. Very, very wonderfully laid out, organized, and I couldn't get enough of the streams, these brooks and whatnot coming down the side of these hills. I thought that was really cool to see that. You don't see that in your hometown every day where you live, I'm sure. Absolutely phenomenal. If you're a hiker, those have got to be interesting trails to go up or areas to go up. on the way out, as we were leaving, we caught a rainbow, and the rainbow was. We caught the one end of it, and then I realized, I can see the entire rainbow. If I film this right, I'll be able to get the entire rainbow in one shot. So I think just as time goes by here, as this video runs along, you'll see the video that you'll see the two ends of the rainbow being picked off. I was wondering myself, what do these people do here? I'm sure, I can understand farmers. And I can understand if you operate, a fishing boat, or if you operate maybe a trucking company, a logging company, a distribution company. But I think a lot of the folks who live here are retired, and they're just staying here to enjoy Mother Nature at its finest. And maybe once every couple of weeks they head out to do some provision shopping, and maybe go to Oslo every few months to do some heavy-duty shopping. There's the rainbow as I was catching it. There went all the way down to the other side over there, so I was able to catch the entire rainbow with my amateur camera skills, using my iPhone, doing the best I could, shooting out of my enclosed little balcony here on the 5th deck. There it is, the entire rainbow from one end to the other. As you can see, the water is extremely calm. That's the best part about these fjords. You're sheltered from vicious storms for the most part. Yes, it rains, and it will get cold in the winter, obviously, but here in the summertime, gorgeous place, and calm waters. You can book tours where you'll be on a bit of a zodiac, and you'll be taken out for an hour or two to various nooks and crannies along some of these areas to see some fantastic geographical areas. There were other buses available for those who wanted to bus their way towards the top of these fjords and get some photographs from way up top. But even as it was, the cloud cover that you see here, it made it very not very good to really get some fantastic footage from way up high. You were kind of fogged in at the top end, and that's one of those tricks or dangers that if you're booking a ship's tour and you've locked yourself in for day 3, if it's a really cloudy, rainy day, you're done for. You can't postpone it. You may not get a refund, and you're kind of hemmed. Leaving the area here, we were cruising through Innvikfjorden, Norway, and Nordfjord, Norway. And I know I'm screwing up these names. Believe me, I know for a fact I'm doing that. But boy, it was beautiful as we were just sailing along here. Going about 10 knots. The scenery kept changing. That there, what you're looking at, is an airport. That is the sock there blowing in the wind. That's the end of a runway. It's a grass runway, and it goes along this little spit of land that has been cleared and goes clear to the other side. And like I say, it's an airport. So emergency flights in and out can be had. Obviously, you can land helicopters and that type of that thing. Coming up here, as the sun was setting and the clouds and the sky were getting more and more dramatic, we came across a ferry. This ferry here reminded me very much of the ferry ride that Jennifer and I used to go on when we used to live in Creston, British Columbia. This is a ferry you can drive a car onto straight in, and the gate opens on one end of the ferry, and then when it gets to the other side, the gate opens on the other end of the ferry, and cars can drive off and then come on the other direction. So two-directional ferry system, very convenient, and they had 2 of those. There's that shot of that airport again from just the angle as we were leaving here, and just behind that hill there is where the runway, there it is, there it comes out the other side as they cut through it somehow. Very, very unique thing. Look at that sky. Wow, that was so beautiful. I was really, really happy to be on this side of the ship on the exit for the day. This was September the 16th, 2025 as we were heading out from what was Olden in Norway, now coming out of this fjord. Coming in, we came in the middle of the night, so it was pitch black dark. There was nothing, we'd never seen anything coming in, but coming out, the latter part of the day, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, we still had enough daylight to see enough of this area to get some really, really dramatic shots. And this is what you're paying for. You're paying top dollar to see Norway really at its finest, and this is part of it right here. Absolutely stunning as the geography changed, as we moved. Everything changed. Now we're just in front of that ferry, just passing it, and you can see the roadway to the left there where people drive in towards that ferry. Down at the end of this particular channel is another set of villages and towns that use this ferry, and whether they can drive deep into that interior, I don't know. But as we were coming around here, you could see more and more various buildings appear in the distance as we began to be able to see down the end of this channel in harbor area a whole bunch of homes and buildings down there, and of course those are the folks using that ferry right there. Very, very wonderful. This makes when you are on a ship and you are seeing this in real life, your heart beat slows down, your blood pressure eases up. It's just so stunningly beautiful. You're seeing nature in a whole other way that you're not used to. Very, very impressive. Here again is where we were going to be sailing as the journey continued. We were probably 50 or 60 miles inland, so it was going to take us several hours to get out of here. And generally speaking, the water was extremely calm until we got towards the edge of the fjord, of course, and came back out into the open sea. Here's another one of those mountain streams, fjord streams that are coming down, and they're impressive, I gotta tell you. This camera does not do this justice, but brings back memories to me to see this, where the water is running down from the top all the way as the ice melts all season long. Quite amazing. And here's another angle here, another shot here. This is a basically, I believe, a salmon farm where they're raising fish. This is a enclosed area here, a marina that was quite large, and I'm sure that quite a number of people work here to maintain and run this, let's say, fishery. It goes all the way over to here with these lights as well. Quite something, and very entrepreneurial in Norway, I have to say. They are very entrepreneurial there, and it's very good. As far as the rest of the ship goes, I was disappointed in the quality of the food in the buffet. I was disappointed in the absolute mayhem every morning we had to deal with regards to crowd control. Jennifer and I had, on 2 occasions, we had to eat outside at the back of the ship. There were no tables available inside the ship during certain times of the day. This ship was so overcrowded, it made it almost a chore to want to go eat. We began to time our breakfasts and lunches and dinners kind of around when we figured it would be the quietest. Very unfortunate. We did not love this cruise. We liked it, but we did not love it, and I would not recommend P&O unless you're going to pay really top dollar and guarantee a cabin. I wouldn't recommend it. The problem here is that the cruise line is so desperate for capital, and which cruise line isn't really, that they are overbooking these ships, and the experience is now less than ideal. No free ice cream. You got to buy your ice cream. £7 for 2 scoops of ice cream, just to give you an idea how much money we're talking about. That's like $12 American for 2 scoops of ice cream. A Diet Coke, 5 pounds, I believe it was, about $8. Coffee, you could get the coffee at the buffet, which is a watered down syrup. But if you wanted a cappuccino or one of these, a really nice latte or something like that, you're talking 7-8 pounds. Big money. One good thing, a laundrette. They had a laundrette available, and a lot of machines here where you could wash and dry your clothes. And that we appreciated. Jennifer got to use this on the second last day. You had to pay for the soap, she says, but other than that, it wasn't too bad. But I got to tell you, there were very few highlights for Jen and I on this cruise. Very, very few. Thankfully, the views were spectacular. This was leaving Kristiansand, Norway, our last stop, and there was a lighthouse right towards the end there that we were passing. And right after we passed this lighthouse, the seas picked up, my friend. The seas were angry that day, my friend, like an old man sending back cold soup at a deli. The seas got angry, and we had 12-foot waves leaving here. But it was spectacular on the way out, and it was lovely to film and see in real life. And there you go. That's our review of our trip on the P&O Iona from Southampton back to Southampton, 7-day cruise from September 13th to September 20, 2025. The geography was fantastic. Norway was fantastic. The ship was nice, but everything else was a money grab, and the cabin was a major, major disappointment considering how much money we ended up paying for it. There you go. Give us a thumbs up, and we'll keep you posted on our travels.